What's up guys, this is the beginning of the build series for Andrew's Chevy 3100. In the last video I posted, we got this thing running, so if you haven't seen that video, feel free to check it out. As you can see, we have the entire front of the truck completely gutted. And that's because we're putting a Mustang II suspension kit on the front. So before getting to this point, we spent some time removing the entire front clip of the truck, which was surprisingly easy. It was held in with a few bolts on the cab side and a couple of bolts on the front, along with some wiring. We also removed the old 235 and manual transmission from the truck. Unfortunately, we're not going to be reusing this old power plant, and here's why. After the day that we got this running, we noticed that there was a bunch of JB weld along the block right here. If you look at this clip right here, you'll notice it right there. With the JB weld there, that was a good indicator that this block is cracked. So we went ahead and grind down the JB weld, and you could really see how big this crack is, and it runs really long. So this block is pretty much junk. We are not going to use this. Luckily, we do have a spare 350 Chevy that I've been working on lately, and we're going to be using that in the truck. The engine stuff is going to be saved for a different video, but for now, we're going to be working on the front suspension for this video. So we already have some done so far. We have this cross member here, and we went ahead and boxed both sides of the frame where this cross member welds to. So we have this tacked into place for now. We need to tack everything all together and see how well it lines up within the wheel well. So right now we're trying to get this spring bucket lined up and level. By the way, we have this whole truck completely level too, from side to side and front and back. This cross member is perfectly level to the ground, and this, we're gonna try to get it level. So we do need to trim some right here. As we can see on the level, it is tilted a little too high on the front. In, still level. Now we're going to work on the other side. All right, now both spring towers are fully tacked in. Now we're gonna figure out where to mount the shock towers, tack those in, and then we'll go from there. Okay, this is a few days after we went ahead and got a lot of the parts installed, mainly to get an idea of where to mount these shock towers and also these strut rods. Since we have the factory lower control arms, we have to have a strut rod. So the way we figured out where to mount this is that we bolted it down right here. Basically, you get the plate that it comes with and kind of figure out what's the best place to mount it to the frame. And we went ahead and tacked it down. Same thing for this side. So far, everything's looking pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and start putting on the rotors, getting the wheels on, and see how well everything lines up and see how well everything turns. And if everything's cleared, we're gonna go ahead and full on weld everything together. So here's the time lapse. All right, it's the next day with the rotors and the wheels on, everything cleared with the suspension all the way up and all the way down, turning side to side, everything checked out good. So now we have everything completely taken apart. We're gonna go ahead and get all the areas cleaned up and buffed out, and Andrew's gonna start welding this all together. Also forgot to mention the way we mounted these shock towers is that we have them at an angle, because I noticed on some of the other people's kits they have the tubular arms which stick out more, which gives the shock a straight line. But since we're using the factory style lower control arm, we have the lower mount of the shock at an angle as well. So the shock pretty much sits like this, and then we're gonna add a support here. We also went ahead and added a notch here for the steering linkage because it gets very close to here. So this should give us plenty of room. Alright guys, so the front of the truck is mostly complete. We have the engine and the transmission mounted along with the suspension parts, most of them installed. I don't want to show too much of the engine because that's going to be saved for a separate video. But as far as for the transmission, we got this transmission mount here. And that's going to wrap it up for this video. In the next video, we're going to be working on the rear end. We're going to be putting a triangulated 4-link suspension in it. If you guys want to be up to date on the progress of this vehicle, feel free to subscribe. I'll be posting more videos in the future. See you guys in the next video.